What's up, everyone? In this video, I want to show you the power of Lovable and why I think this is one of the most underrated and most powerful AI tools available to you, to me, to pretty much anyone to be creative and come up with things that are actually useful in business, in our personal lives. It's just an amazing platform, and it has something to do with this term that you may have heard of called vibe coding. You see, back in the day, you had to know how to code, you had to know how to program, you had to know different programming languages in order to build anything useful when it came to software. But you don't have to do that anymore. Now, with a product like Lovable, you can literally go in here and prompt any type of app or website or checklist, calculator. There's so many different opportunities here for you to deploy this in your business. And I've used it so many different ways, from creating calculators for Earnworthy, our marketing agency. We use them on sales calls all the time. We've created internal dashboards for our team to track different metrics on the back end. I've created task management platforms. I've created lead generation platforms. I've even created my own personal website. If you go to nicholasscalise.com, that has been completely vibe coded using Lovable. And yes, for all the SEO people in the chat, come at me. I understand Lovable is not the best when it comes to SEO, but everything has its pros and cons. They've made incredible leaps in the SEO department in recent months. I feel that it's just a matter of time until they get there, where it's going to be a fantastic platform from an SEO standpoint, because they are very much aware of that shortcoming, and it's not terrible for SEO. I have Lovable websites that do rank on page 1. You just have to know what you're doing. You have to know the right prompts. So just to show you from start to finish what it's like to work with Lovable, let's come up with a project out of thin air, and I'm going to show you my workflow and how I work within Lovable. Now, if you are not already signed up on Lovable, use my link below. You can get started for free. You can go to earnworthy.link/lovable. I'll put it on screen. I'll also put it in the comments below. Make sure you sign up for a free account. That is your first step. Now, yes, you can use Lovable for free up to a certain extent, and then you have to switch over to a paid account if you find this useful. Now, for me, I use it all the time. I get value out of it all the time. So obviously the cost of the credits to me is a very small price to pay for the value of what it can do for your business, similar to the value of paying for ChatGPT on one of the paid plans. Anyways, let's move over to Lovable, check it out, and see what we can create. Let's say that I want to create a recipe generator. I want to just come up with some different ideas for maybe food that I have in the fridge, or maybe feeling like eating a certain type of cuisine one night, and I want to have some ideas, and then I want it to help me generate the recipes. I want to create this as a web app that can be mobile friendly, and that's the basic idea. I don't really know what else it can do just yet. I'm just trying to come up with an idea here on the spot just to show you how random this can be. Now, what I recommend doing first, I like to use ChatGPT as a starting point for my initial prompt. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this, especially now that Lovable has this plan feature. The interesting thing about the plan feature in Lovable is that you can ask questions, you can explore ideas, you can plan your project before building, so you can toggle it off if you want the agent to immediately start building, or you can toggle it on, right? So it's up to you. If it's blue, it's enabled. If it's off, it's not. So if you don't have it enabled, whatever you put in here, Lovable's going to start actually building the app or the website. Now, I still like using ChatGPT more for that first initial prompt. I think it does a better job of being comprehensive, because one thing I've noticed about Lovable is you really got to get that first initial prompt right. Because if you mess that up and then you try to go back and redo the whole app from scratch, it's usually a lot more difficult to do it that way. In fact, there's been times where I'll just throw out an entire project and start over because that first prompt just was not ideal. It didn't get me to a good starting point. So it's very important that you get that initial prompt right. So I'm going to head over to ChatGPT, and I am going to ask ChatGPT to come up with an initial Lovable prompt for this idea. Now, I'm going to use voice to text. I like to use a tool called Super Whisper. I will also put it below. I mean, who has time for typing anymore? I barely ever type on my keyboard. I hold down one key, and it is an amazing voice to text platform called Super Whisper. If you want to try that, you can also check out the link below. Let's have a spin at this. I'd like you to come up with a prompt for a Lovable web app that is a recipe generator. Now, initially, I open to ideas, and I'd love for you to give me some ideas for what we can do with this type of app, but I'm thinking it should have different modes, and one specific feature might be I can list out items in my fridge, and then it'll give me some recipe ideas of things I can make with those items. Maybe I can also have different types of cuisine from around the world. And regardless of whether I have those items in my fridge or not, it'll help me come up with some different recipes that I can make. Maybe it'll ask me some questions depending on the amount of time I have, how healthy I want it to be, so on and so forth. So based on this, ask me some additional questions for what you need to know so that you can then generate an initial prompt that I can put into Lovable to develop the initial version of this web app. So there you go. I put that into ChatGPT. Now you'll notice one thing I did at the end there. I asked ChatGPT to ask me questions. This is part of my prompting framework called the RCTA framework, where at the end of my prompt, I ask for the AI to ask me questions. This is a game changer, and it'll give you a better quality response. So now you can see it's got a whole bunch of content here as we review it, key traits, so-and-so. Let's see where the questions are. Okay, questions I need you to answer. Who is this primarily for? So now what I'm literally gonna do is I'm just gonna hold down the keyboard and I'm gonna talk through this again and answer those questions. Target user is going to be busy adults and families. Skill level needs to be mixed. Personality, I want it to be playful and fun. I think that'll help it stand out from other apps. Output style, I think it should be flexible. And I do want step-by-step instructions. And constraints and filters, should it always ask about time available, dietary restrictions, health goals? No, I think it depends on the user mode, the mode that they select. So we don't want to make it too complicated. We want to keep it simple, fun, and playful. And I think for this one, for the initial version, do you want one main mode and filters? Yeah, let's do one main mode and filters. And we want it to ask questions first and then generate recipes. And then should it have, let's see, suggest shopping list? Yes, suggest shopping list, suggest leftover usage, and generate meal prep ideas and track favorites. Sure, let's add those items in as well if they're simple to do so. And here you have it. It is creating that initial prompt. Now, normally, if I am not just making this for a video, I would go through this in detail, make sure this is exactly what I want. But just to show you how easy this is, I am literally gonna just paste this into Lovable without even reading all of it. And we're just gonna see what it comes up with. So here we go, we're copying the code. We're gonna go over to Lovable and we are going to paste that in and we're gonna hit enter. Now this first prompt usually takes the longest. So I would give it up to 10 minutes depending on the complexity of what you're putting in here. After that, it's gonna be a lot quicker to be able to iterate on the app. So I'm gonna pause the video and then we'll come back to it as soon as we have that first draft of the app ready for us to review together. Okay, here we are. This is the first draft. Let's take a look and see what it came up with. Well, look at that. It even came up with a name, Fridge Friend. What's in your fridge? Toss in what you got. We'll turn it into something delicious. Type or paste your ingredients. Let's give it a shot real quick. Oh, look, we can even click on some items. Let's say I have milk, butter, pasta, garlic, bread, broccoli, and maybe some ground beef. And customize your recipes. I only have about 20 minutes. My health goal is balanced. Actually, let's go comfort. Surprise me. Servings, let's go with 2. And let's go with Italian. Generate recipes. Look at that. We have 4 recipe ideas based on the ingredients. Flash flame beef and broccoli Alfredo, because butter is my favorite love language. Let's see what happens when I click make this one. It gives me the ingredients. You might also need Parmesan cheese. I can add them to my shopping list. Let's do that. I've added it to the list up here. It gives me the steps, gives me substitution and swaps, leftover remix, meal prep options, make it faster, make it healthier. Let's see if I go to the list, if it actually put all the items. It looks like it didn't put all the items on my list. And you see, this is where you have to work with Lovable because it's not going to be perfect on the first output. This is where you can spend a lot of money on credits because you do have to go back and forth with it. Pretty much anything is possible. You just have to know how to talk to it. And you do have to be aware of what you need. That's why it's still not easy to build apps because you have to know what you're looking for. Like the first thing I'm noticing now is, well, how do I go back to that recipe that I just created, right? There's no way to go back and see it. So what I would do here is I would say there needs to be a way to go back to the recipes that I've generated, because once I generate them and I try to add them to my list and then I go back, it just takes me back to the home page. Now, if I put that in, now you can see this is where Lovable starts iterating, and it does this much quicker than that initial prompt. So you can see here it says I'll add navigation that preserves generated recipes. The issue is that by clicking back from the recipes goes back to results, but if you navigate away to the shopping list, there's no way back to results. I'll also persist recipes in context so they survive navigation. And then you can even see what it is actually doing. If you click into this little detail section here, you can see it's editing the navigation bar, recipes nav bar now, nav link now appears at the top. Let's close that. And when you hear that sound, it means we have something else to check out. So now, why don't we refresh it and let's generate another recipe. Let's go with eggs, chicken, potatoes, and bell peppers, and let's generate. And here we go. Let's go with this fancy-ish forest frittata. Make this. Okay, see, and now I have the recipes up here. That wasn't there before, so now I can go back to it. And let's add these items to my shopping list. Let's go to the list. Cup of milk, handful of shredded cheese. Were those the only items on the list? Let's check. Yep. Okay, so what it's doing is it's adding the items that I don't have to the shopping list. So you can see that's just to show you how quick and easy it is to get that first version up and running, and then how to iterate and continue to add to the app or website so that it gets better and better. Now there's even another level you can take this by enabling what's called Lovable Cloud. Lovable Cloud is basically the database or the back end. So if you want to do things like use AI, if you want to have, and this is already using AI, but if you really want to like take it to the next level, you need to make sure you're enabling Lovable Cloud. Sometimes you have to do this manually, sometimes it's already done for you, but that's a whole powerful backend architecture that's going to help you create a very usable app. Now you can also, if I wanted to, I could say create login functionality. I want people to be able to go to this site, create an account, save their recipes, come back, verify their email, all that stuff. You can do that as well. So the power of Lovable is that they have their own cloud, which is their own backend database. They have their own AI, which you can use to both create lovable apps as well as to power the app itself so that your users are interacting with the AI. But then it also integrates with a whole bunch of third-party platforms. For instance, the back end of the logging in and the user management and that type of thing, sending emails, they use a platform called Clerk, which handles that. For email, there's a platform called Resend, which is very easy to integrate. And then for payments, it integrates with Stripe. Those are some of the common platforms that Lovable already knows how to connect with. So for instance, if I want to take payment for this, I could say, okay, let's put a payment gate in front of this. I want to be able to charge for this app, maybe let people generate one recipe and then have them sign up. And it will then walk me through the steps to connect a Stripe account. So yes, you will have to work with some third-party platforms as you become more skilled at what you want this app to do and how professional you want it to be. You'll have to go over to Clerk, or you'll have to go over to Resend for email or Stripe, but it's going to walk you through a lot of that. So it's super easy to integrate things on the back end. It's super easy to change things on the front end. You can change the entire design here. Pretty much anything you want, you can do. You can even change the layout so you can see what it'll look like on mobile. You can see like this is a UI issue. So this would be something that I would want to clean up. And I can prompt it. Either I could say specifically change this, and I can even click visual edit. I can click on that and I can say, make this fit better on mobile because the text is out of bounds, and it will fix it. I can also prompt it to go through the entire app page by page and make UI and UX improvements so that I don't have to prompt each individual detail. So it's all about how much detail you give it, and you still have to do a lot of work to make this something that is usable, and just try to think through all the problems. You're going to run into issues, things might not work. It'll try to fix those bugs for you, but you can see how quickly that fixed itself. That's how you work with Lovable. You just come up with the idea and then you continue to iterate and you make something that's actually usable. Now, once you are done with the initial layout, let's say, if we go back to this website preview version, you can then publish your project. You can put it on a Lovable domain, or you can use a custom domain. And there's a whole bunch of settings there. You can prompt it to review the site from an SEO standpoint, to add in things to make it get more visibility on Google and be built with SEO best practices. Although I will admit those have some work ahead of them. Lovable needs to improve that. So it's not perfect on the SEO front, as we talked about, but you can publish this and then people can access it on pretty much any device. So that in a nutshell is how to work with Lovable. I just wanted to show you how quick and easy it is to get something up and running. The world is your oyster in terms of what you come up with. So make sure to try Lovable for yourself. Let me know what you think about it. If you have any questions, put them below. If you want to give it a shot, use my link below and let me know what you're going to build. And if you've already built something on Lovable, or you're going to build something, drop it in the comments. I'd love to give you some feedback on it. So have fun building in Lovable. I'll see you in the next video.